So today I'm gonna give y'all a timeline of like my whole weight loss journey, starting from when I first started gaining weight. We're gonna go back in memory lane. I'm gonna give y'all the whole backstory. I would say that I was probably around 14 or 15 in high school when I first started gaining weight. Before that, I was super athletic child. I ran track, I did gymnastics. Outside of that, always outside, running around, playing, jumping on the trampoline, just very athletic, energetic, cheerleading, all type of stuff. My mother and father got a divorce. And I would honestly say from that point on in my life is when food became an emotional crutch for me. It wasn't noticeable then, but I just started to notice how much I enjoyed the foods that I did. So I was always a snacker, even when I was super athletic and I moved my body a lot when I was a kid. I love snacks and snacking on food, but we always ate together as a family when my family was still together, my family unit, and my parents were still married. So we would have, breakfast in the morning before school. I would eat lunch at school and come home and we would eat dinner together as a family. When my parents split up, of course, there's less home cooked meals, so we started eating out more, but still wasn't too big of an issue because my mom she was a stay-at-home mom previously. She was a nurse at this point, so she started working 3 days a week. So majority of the time she was at home and preparing our meals before school. I would eat the school lunch and then have dinner when we come home. Or even if she didn't have dinner prepared, I would eat something at home, like a small portion of, like pizza rolls or something like that, not like crazily eating. It wasn't until I got more mobile, of course, when I got my driver's license and then when I started working, where I was able to spend more money on food and then also had the access to be able to get to like these fast food places. I remember during my high school years, those 4 years, I slowly gained weight all 4 years. Like every year I was bigger than I was the year before, but it wasn't like anything drastic. Maybe from like my freshman year to my end of my senior year, it would have been drastic, but like year by year, it wasn't like I was gaining like 30 or 20 pounds a year. I would say I started off high school at 145 and I ended high school at 160. That process came from me getting into super bad habits, spending my money. So my first job was being a host at Applebee's, and I had a discount, 50% off discount on anything on the menu. So after school, I would go to work, and then after work, I would just order food from Applebee's instead of eating dinner that my mom cooked or that I went home and cooked myself. I would just eat dinner on the days that I worked. I was part-time, so I didn't do that often, but then also, like I said, I got surprised with the car when I turned 16. So then after I had my job first, so that bad habit had already started. And then once I got my car, I was able to go get fast food. So I would go to track practice, and then after track practice, I would go get fast food, hang out a little bit more, do my homework, go to sleep, do it all over again. So at this point, I'm probably eating fast food 4 to 5 days out of the school week. So that's every night. And then on the weekends, most likely me and my mom was going out to go shopping every other weekend because she was a nurse, so she worked every other weekend. And to go shopping and out to eat somewhere. So maybe I was only eating once or twice on the weekend, like a day, but still I was like eating out, and I stopped eating at home as much. And like I said, that process slowly pushed me into gaining weight. I also ended up getting on birth control. I think it was my senior year or my junior year, but it only lasted for 3 months. All 3 months I was switching to different types because they all gave me like every negative side effect that was listed on the birth control. I had it, so that affected my weight. I remember I gained like 10 pounds like that in a month, and I was like, nope, can't do it. So we switched off of that, and I had other side effects that was like with the other ones that I ended up completely being off of birth control, not doing this because I don't like the way it makes my body feel. So that was that. Moving on past high school years, when we get to college is when things really kind of got like rocky for me because along with my parents' divorce, I was dealing with other like factors within my family dynamic that was a heavy weight on me emotionally. And I'm not gonna go into details because it has to do with other people in my family, and I just don't feel comfortable sharing that aspect of what it was. But it weighed on me heavily, and that being far away from home, because I went away to school and trying to navigate what my life looked like as me being an adult, me being out in this world on my own. Also dealing with my parents' divorce, because that was something that I dealt with very like heavily, with no intervention. Like I wasn't willing to go to like therapy or anything. My mom tried to sign me up for it, but I wasn't willing. I didn't feel like I had any issues back then. I knew I was like angrier than I was before they got a divorce, but that was about it. So I wasn't willing to like take on the help that she was trying to offer. And me being in college, having access to the CAF and all the food places on campus. I didn't take my car to school, but there was other kids or teenagers. I don't know what you call somebody who just go, because I felt like we was kids still, but whatever. Had cars, and so I had friends and friendships, and so I would hop in the car with them, and we would go get food. But most of the time, I was eating at the cafe and like the restaurants that was within our like cafeteria area. And I mean, when I tell you, I was eating like waffles, big old waffles with like eggs and hash browns every morning, like, or every other morning. I would go the times I didn't have like super early classes. I would go. I remember on Fridays we had like wing day, and you could get as many wings as you want. I would go get hot wings that day. I used to get this nachos, like these nachos, they was super fire, but it was a big portion. What else? Like I used to go get like the chicken tenders and cheese sticks, like burritos. It was bad, and I was eating this all day long, all different times of the day, in between my classes. I barely was cooking. I had academic scholarship, so all like my room and board was covered for. So I had unlimited access to go swipe my card at the cafeteria. And it got out of control. Like, I would honestly say that is when my weight ballooned. So I went from like 165 to like 195 in 1 year. Like and I didn't even realize how, like, I knew that I was gaining weight because I remember starting to like exercise back then, but I had no clue how much weight I was gaining, how fast I gained it, how bad my habits were. I remember like trying to like lose weight, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing good because I got more like lettuce. Like I was like adding healthier things, but I wasn't taking anything away. I didn't know anything, and I was just like looking back in the past, not becoming like more knowledgeable on how to actually like take on this like task of like trying to lose weight and become healthier. I was just like, I'm gonna do what I used to do in the past. So I'm like, what's different? Maybe I eat a little less. On top of all that food I was eating, like I said, at the calf, I still had my room like stacked with snacks, okie doke popcorn, Cheez-Its, like graham crackers, Gatorade. Oh, my refrigerator was full of Gatorade. And like I said, I was just going back to things that I knew from my childhood. Like I always drank water. I never had an issue with drinking water, but I didn't need Gatorade. I wasn't moving. Like, I'm thinking about the old athletic me drinking all this Gatorade, and it was just bad. But I didn't know what to do. So I remember like I was trying to lose weight, and I knew I was super active then, and I wasn't as active now. So I started to like exercise. I got like workout buddies at school. My weight didn't budge like when I was trying to attempt to lose weight then. I ended up coming back home the very next year and going to community college. I started to actually realize how much weight I gained when I started to see other kids from back home when they came back for the summer. And I'm like, oh, or when I came back home and tried to fit some of my clothes that I used to wear and I couldn't fit anything, so I had to go shopping. Like, that's when it became more noticeable how much weight I was gaining, because of course in college I was wearing like sweat hoodies and like stretchy clothing where I didn't realize how much weight I had gained. And it's so crazy to me when I think back about like how long ago like these issues started for me, but I had no idea that it was actually starting. When I started to like really do my research, do my due diligence on how to lose weight. So I remember I started to meal prep and like separate portion sizes for my snacks. I remember I used to love like the white cheddar smart popcorn and smart food popcorn, I think, in the black bag. Some of y'all probably know what I'm talking about. And I like put them all in baggies for the week instead of like opening up the bag and eating that whole bag. I started doing like rice, tilapia, and broccoli, rice, tilapia, and string beans. I bought like a big gallon container of water, and I was going to work out. And I actually started to see like a movement in my weight loss.
How much you want me to record? Here you go. Work it out. Look at that sweat. Yeah, she's getting it.
My husband now, then my friend, we started working out together, so I had the accountability aspect. And like I said, my weight actually did start to budge and drop. I just gave up. I wasn't consistent. Like that was like my first attempt of like actually trying to lose weight, and it was taking a long time and I just wasn't consistent. But I never stopped like trying to get back on the wagon. I probably say I lost like 20 pounds. So maybe I got down to like the 70s, but it never got any further than that until after my first pregnancy. So during my first pregnancy, I was pregnant with twins. I didn't gain much weight throughout my first pregnancy. I wasn't super sick, but I didn't have a huge appetite. I just was like living life as normal. I only carried that pregnancy to 7 months. It did come 3 months early. I only gained 15 pounds. I don't know how much more weight I would have gained if I was able to carry them to term, but that's where that lied. After giving birth to my twins, I was actually smaller than I was before my pregnancy, but I was not like dieting or trying to diet. The most I did was like walk around during my lunch break around the building during my lunch break when I was working during that pregnancy, but that's about it. Everything else I was eating like normal, like food, snacking. I wasn't like over excessively eating. I do remember that. After my twins was born, I didn't go back into the workforce, barely. I had like 1 year where I worked as a lactation peer counselor, but I didn't fully go back into the workforce after that. So I became a stay-at-home mom. So of course, me staying at home with my kids, I started to like yo-yo. I started to gain weight because I was at home eating all day. I was nursing 2 babies, so super thirsty, but also super hungry. And I wasn't really focused on losing weight, but I knew that I didn't really want to be like in a position of like, I lost weight when they were born. I was like 170. I probably was back up at like 180 at this point while nursing them. And then I come across a documentary, and I think it was the Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead with the juice fasting. And I remember going into like this super deep dive into plant-based eating, and I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm gonna go vegan and I'm gonna be plant-based. And I tried that for a while and I fell off. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try keto. And I was trying to eat like just meat and vegetables and like bacon and stuff. I knew I wasn't gonna last. That one probably lasts like a full 5 days. I knew I wasn't gonna last on that because even in my childhood, I was not huge on meat. So that wasn't gonna work. Then I learned about Dr. McDougall, the starch solution. I'm like, I love mashed potatoes. If I could just take like dairy out of it, learn how to make some fried mashed potatoes and eat a whole bunch of vegetables, that'd be like my main starch. Or like baked potatoes or like my homemade french fries. Like, I can do this. And I actually stuck with that for a while, dropped my weight down, got to like the 60s, got pushed past my PR, which was like in the 70s, and I got down to the 60s, and that worked for me for a little while. And as y'all starting to hear already, here is when the yo-yo like start. Because I would find something that was working for me, and then I would do it for a while, and it would get me to a point where I was excited, I was happy, and then I would fall back into my same old habits, and I would be exactly like, where I came from before. So then I got pregnant with my third child, my second pregnancy. And during that pregnancy, I gained a lot of weight. I probably gained like 40 pounds during that pregnancy. I wasn't really worried about like exercising or losing weight or anything. I just lived my life. But like I said, I gained a lot of weight during that pregnancy. And I got to the highest weight of my life during that pregnancy, which was 220. I was super embarrassed. I remember that, like, but I wasn't like down on myself about it. I'm just like, once this baby drop, I'm gonna get healthy. And I did. Like, I took baby steps. I started off walking. I was doing an at-home walking video, a 5K, like, healthy heart walking video. I was eating plant-based Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends, I would eat meat with my husband if we went out, or just allow myself to, like, have whatever I wanted for that one meal where we all ate together. I would still eat, like, oatmeal for breakfast. And I dropped a lot of weight doing that. I believe I got down to like 147. And like, I was because that was like the most I was consistent on like this yo-yo journey of my weight loss. Like, I was super consistent during that season after she was born, and life was good. And then I don't know what it was that triggered me. I think I got too comfortable. I remember going from like 140 to like the 60s, and I would like find myself floating between those. Like, I didn't ever get back down to 145. So like 150 to 160, I found myself floating there for a little while. And that's where it was like, I would say in the 60s is where it's like easy for me to maintain without even thinking about it. Like, thinking about being healthy at all, when I'm like putting in healthy habits in my life. But then I start staying there a little bit too long, and then next thing you know, I was up to 175 again. And that's when I'm like, I gotta figure out what's wrong with me, because why do I keep doing this? I don't want to keep losing this same weight over and over and over and over again. And I know if y'all in the same boat, or if y'all like are anything similar to me, like, it gets harder every time to lose this weight, because it's like, I lost this weight before. Now I got to put in the hard work to lose it again. And then now I don't even trust myself that I'm not going to gain it back. So it's like, you don't even have the motivation to put the hard work in that you need to actually lose it, because losing weight is hard. Changing your habits is hard. So I remember searching, like, what can I do? And I come across fasting. I used to see like intermittent fasting before that, and I just used to like always turn my nose up at it, turn my head. Like, it just seemed like the easy way out. Like, what are y'all doing? Or ED, I'm like, you just not eating? Like, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't click in my head. And then I ended up watching videos about completely water fasting, because I am a Christian, y'all. So in the Christian world, like, fasting is a part of it, but I never associated it with like weight loss or anything. It was just like, this is a spiritual fast only. I was not thinking about, the fact that it was like, you actually are not putting any calories inside your body. You're giving your digestive system a rest, like all type of things that come along with fasting. But I wasn't thinking about it like that. It was purely spiritual for me. But then I also remember thinking like, but I also remember too, me being a Christian, I had never did spiritual fast. Like, that was okay with me as a concept. But like, when my church used to be like, we fasting, especially when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, I'm fasting from TV, I'm fasting from my phone, I'm fasting from social media. I ain't fasting from food. The most I would do was like fast all day and eat at 6 o'clock. And even then, I did not participate in fast. So it just seemed like unobtainable, unrealistic for me to like do this at all. But I remember clicking on this video one day. It was about intermittent fasting. And then I saw a testimonial. And not even that, like, I still didn't do anything about it. I just watched it. But I guess it started to simmer on my brain and my mind. And I moved on to watching videos about complete water fast. And something just clicked. Like, I know the results was amazing. And that's what made me like, I can actually do this thing. But something clicked, like everything. It wasn't just like quick weight loss. It was the fact that my body could heal itself. Like the fact that I could sustain my body without eating. And the fact that Jesus did a 40-day fast. Like, I was like, it's something about this, Honestly, I can't even explain to you what the mindset I was in that made me like go for it. But I was like, I'm about to try fast. I told my husband, I'm like, you know, you got to be watching me because I'm scared. You know, I had no idea. I had never known anyone to like fast for a super, like do an extended fast around me. I remember going to like the dollar store and getting like these big old gallon bottles of water, like a lot of them. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to do this thing. My first ever water fast, y'all, I went for 10 days. I have no clue how I did that. Don't ask me, because I have no clue how I was able to do that, but I did. And I remember I dropped from like 175 to like the 50s. Like, I was like, yeah, like this it. Like this the one. And so this is like the sad part of my journey where like I had already experienced yo-yoing before. This found water fasting completely blew me away. And I'm like, when I'm not water fasting, I'm going to be doing plant-based. Like nothing can stop me. I'm about to be the healthiest I've ever been in my life. Same journey with the water fasting. I did that fast. I did another 10-day water fast, I believe. Got back down to the 40s. Super excited. I felt super comfortable. And I didn't know what to do to maintain. I didn't go further in my knowledge. So I was eating plant-based a lot of the time. And I remember I kept eating like normal on the weekends. And then that normal on the weekend started to extend to the week. I think I had a birthday weekend. And that like little binge of not like going back to my like routine of eating plant-based just spiraled out of control. And then I found myself like creeping all the way back to the 70s again. I stayed at the 70s for a while. And then I kept trying to fast, but I didn't have like the mental capacity to do it. And then that lasted for a while, but I don't know how long I was able to like, you know, stay at the 70s until I just remember I kept gaining. I gained like 10 pounds. I hit 180. My birthday was coming around again, and I'm like, oh, here I go again. I'm not even satisfied with myself or my body or my health. I'm in the 80s. Like, how do I keep finding myself here? Like, I have no clue. And then a couple months later, I found out I was pregnant. So I stayed at the 80s when I was pregnant. And that pregnancy, I remember I told my husband, like, you know, I'm going to try to stay healthy throughout this pregnancy. And when this baby dropped, like, this is it. I'm getting healthy. Like, I'm tired of going through this same process. At this point, it's almost going to be a decade from when I first started, you know, actually, like, being cognizant of how to lose weight. And like I just keep being in this same up and down yo-yo. Like I can't do this. And I was very conscious about when I first started to lose weight that I didn't want to be a yo-yoer with my weight loss, and yet here I am. I went through that entire pregnancy. That was in 2019 up until 2020. So I went through the whole COVID thing, and I was doing a good job at keeping my weight down until COVID happened. At the end of my pregnancy, I gained a lot of weight from being at home. Like I would cook at home, and then my husband would come home and bring like food from work that they had, because we was trying to keep as much food as we could. Of course, we didn't know what was going on. So I remember I would eat like 2 dinners. It got like really, really bad. Then I would be snacking, and I was cooking a lot of like creative meals, but it wasn't like super healthy. Like we was making our own pizza, but like I was making a lot. So like I would just be eating way more than I needed to eat. So I ended up getting up to 220 again in that pregnancy. And she came in June. I gave myself to July to get like my milk supply going. And then in July was my first attempt of like trying to lose weight after like she came. And then I think that probably lasted a couple of weeks, maybe like 3 weeks. Starting in August, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to eat plant-based. That didn't last. And I was like, whatever. I'm just like, I'm over it. I was slowly dropping weight during that time, but it wasn't like, I wasn't putting in effort to like be consistent with it. So I was just losing weight from just like my habits, but not like actually like putting in the work to lose weight. And then on October 1st, I was like, all right, I'm doing this. Like, I'm going to eat plant-based. I'm going to like work out and like just move my body, walk, which is what I mean by workout. And I'm going to actually lose the weight. And I committed to doing 100 days of sweat, just doing something where I caused my body to sweat for 100 days straight. And I took on that challenge. I completely completed. I think I missed one day out of those 100 days. And I didn't even start fasting until maybe like the 80-day mark because I was breastfeeding and I didn't want to mess with my milk supply at all. I did really, really well, y'all. Like, I was dropping weight. I was dropping weight consistently. In that 100 days, I think at the end, I was like sitting in the 60s again at 166 or 167. And I used jump rope and walking to help me like with my exercise. And I was eating a lot of plant-based meals. I came across alternate day fasting. And at the end of that 100-day mark, I was like, I'm about to do this thing. I'm about to work. I'm about to do alternate day fasting. So I did alternate day fasting for an entire month. And I was blown away by the results. I went from like 167 to like 156. During this time with alternate day fasting, I was still breastfeeding, but I don't know why I felt comfortable with doing alternate day fast. I didn't feel like comfortable doing extended fasting. My milk supply didn't drop. Nothing happened. So I guess, you know, I was like, I'm going to play it by ear, and it worked for me. So I just remember like kept doing that, kept doing alternate day fasting, and I got down to like 153. That was my lowest. And then, ew, go wash your hands in your bathroom. From that point, I lost all my gains. Like, I can't even tell you like what it was. I just like stopped being consistent. Hey, this is Editing Reese coming in to fill in the gaps. So during this time period, I ended up getting COVID. The whole family got it, and I dropped a lot of weight. I was down and out really bad for about 10 days. After COVID, I was like still dealing with like the lingering side effects of that sickness. And then I ended up losing all my hair. Right after COVID, when I got my taste back, I just started eating, like binging. Like, I was eating nonstop. It was like my mind couldn't stop me. And I started gaining weight rapidly after I got COVID in September. And then my hair fell out in January, right before I started this fast track channel. And I did my first water fast for this channel. Start eating crazy. And this was like the worst time, like mentally for me, because whatever I was going through in my life, I was still trying to be healthy, but I was failing big time. And I got all the way back up to 200 pounds. No pregnancy involved, like just me living life, eating. My husband did start making a little bit more money. So once again, here I go. I have access to more like money, free money for food. And I started doing things that I would never done before, like ordering DoorDash, and it got bad. I just really stopped caring for myself. Like, I would be driving my kids to their little like events, sporting events, and like ballet, and I'd just be sitting in the car, like making sure I had my snacks with me so I could pass the time. Like, and I could just tell my mood. Like, I was becoming more of like a depressed person. I was moody, snappy, because I wasn't happy with who I was, what I was showing my kids, like, but also like I feel like I needed these things to like pick me up and make me happy, like chips and candy and fast food. Like, it's like I'm trying to make my life easier, but also like I'm not satisfied with this, or I don't even want to feed my kids like this. I cook a lot of meals at home, and I feel like I do have fairly healthy kids with like their like nutrition and what they're like willing to eat and what they do eat majority of the time. But also like just them seeing me, like I would go to fast food places and buy stuff just for me because I didn't want them to eat unhealthy, but then go cook them a healthy meal. Like, that's how bad it got. And that is when I decided to start this channel, and I did my first ever fast. And then I lost weight from that fast, and then I gained weight back, and then I did my 200-pound life, and then lost weight again for another fast. That time I didn't lose as much weight. I remember starting off at like the 200s, getting down to like 180. And then I just completely walked away from like this channel for like a whole year. And I had to just get my mind together and understand like what is going on with me. And honestly, the truth of the matter is I've never committed to like a true lifestyle change. That's the conclusion that I had to come to, because if I did, I would have kept the same habits that helped me lose the weight in the first place and get healthy, and I wouldn't have gained it back. I always do something for a little bit of time and then go back to my bad habits. And so as you see me on this weight loss journey again this time, like, yes, I'm 30 pounds down, but my focus is not even on how I'm losing weight this time. It is really on the fact that I need to learn how to maintain. I need to keep going past the point where I hit the goal that I want to hit, past the point when I get to celebrate, small wins here and there. I need to change my life. And for the first time ever, I do honestly feel like it has started to like shift in my mind how I need to view my life and my health when it comes to like my fitness and how I pour into myself. And I'm praying, for myself. I'm still on a journey, and I can't say that I'm not at the point where I can say like I've maintained this weight loss for 12 years or even 1 year, like I've yet to do that. I've yet to learn how to maintain my weight loss. And I'm still on my weight loss journey right now. So I just know that a lot of people probably experience what I experienced. And so I just wanted to go through like my little timeline. And I'm super excited that I'm like at this 35 weight loss point. But I'm still being hyper vigilant that like there's no stop to this. Maybe it looks different in maintenance, but there's no stop to being healthy. And so this time what I did different was I have like accountability within myself. Like I remember I used to not want to tell people because if I failed and I didn't want them to be like judging what I told them I was going to do. So I would just like lose weight quietly on my own with the help of my husband, but like not outside people. This time I reached out for like outside people. I've changed like the people who I'm closest to me have the habits that I want to have in my life. Not all of them, but a lot of the people who I'm gravitating towards. I chose the type of exercise that I know will be sustainable for me. So I'm not going to ever be the person, well, at least in this season, because I stay at home, I homeschool my kids, y'all. Like, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym like the next person, like all the time. So I had to like figure out how to work out at home. I'm not willing to spend the money on weights right now. So I had to find a way of how to build muscle at home with body weight. And it's enjoyable for me. Like I'm doing stuff that I used to do in gymnastics. It's fun. I get my kids involved. I go on walks. I'm not trying to be the type of person who get up early in the morning at 5 in the morning before my kids wake up and go on a mile run anymore. Like that's the type of stuff that I used to do before. Like I'm gonna get up and go to the Y, go swimming. And of course it never lasted, even if I was able to do it for a month, because it wasn't realistic and it wasn't a priority in my life. But it's like I can go walk. I can go do a 2-mile walk with my kids. We can go to the front of the complex and walk back. That's 2 miles. We did it all summer. We're gonna do it all summer again. As soon as spring hit, actually, like every day it looked nice outside, I get out and walk already. Like those are little things that I can change in my life that I can stick to. Snacking, like I'm not completely ever gonna take that out of my life as far as like the joy that it brings me, but I can make my own homemade popcorn and I eat it every Friday with a movie instead of snacking every day. I set up my life in a way where the kitchen is closed, it's shut down, and I stay out of it. I don't snack as much as I used to, but if I was to go back to snacking, I have healthier options like corn chips and popcorn and applesauce and apples and peanut butter that I actually enjoy. I write down foods that's healthy that I actually enjoy, not things that I'm just trying to scarf down for this period of time so I can lose weight. Like I try to come up with meals that I really, really enjoy, that's already healthy, that's in my habits that I do now, and then I add in other things and I try out other things, and some may get added and some just be like no, or every once in a while. And those are the ways in which I'm trying to be different this time, because I don't want to get to the 60-pound mark that I lost 60 pounds again and then I found myself in the same position. Like I'm not doing that to myself again. I don't want to do that to my family, and I just can't. So this is how my journey is going so far. And if you anything like me, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. We can be accountability and encouraging for each other. But also, y'all, if this video helped you in any way, can you please share it and subscribe to my channel so you can see if I'm able to maintain this weight loss and this healthy lifestyle journey that I'm on. Because me being accountable to you, but first and foremost to myself and to my family, is what keeps me going. Like I said before, I'm a Christian and I want to be healthy for the glory of God. I want to take care of the temple that he blessed me with. Like, I want to move my body that can still move. Like, I'm very grateful for what I have, the health in my legs and my mind and my arms. And like, I want to be able to move this body that I can move. Like, I want to enjoy food, but I want to actually have food and be enjoyable and not be a slave to it and not be, you know, to the point where I'm not even enjoying it, only for a split second of that pleasure. But then after I'm experiencing that, like, I'm completely full of shame and like I'm done with that. I don't want to live a life like that anymore. And I'm sad that it took me, you know, a decade from the time I was 20. I'm gonna be 30 this year, like, for it to click. But if that's what my journey like had to be, so that I can help somebody else and y'all can get it on the first time because y'all listening to me, then it's cool with me, because that's maybe, you know, the purpose that God had for me to play in this life. So thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long one, but I love y'all. Peace.